Türkiye just added a new engineering record to its name, home to the world's longest suspension bridge. Stretching more than 2 kilometers over the Turkish Straits, the 1915 Canakkale Bridge has become the newest link connecting Europe and Asia. Taking 5 years to build, the bridge opened to commemorate an important date in Turkish history. Let's take a look at this report. And to discuss how the Canakkale Bridge could bolster Turkiye's trade and transport links, joining me now from Istanbul is Taha Arvas. He is an adjunct professor of finance at Bogazici University. And from London, Maurizio Zanardi. He is the head of the School of Economics at the University of Surrey. A warm welcome to you both. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk. Taha, let me begin with you. Talk to us about the significance of this bridge. What does it symbolize as it was opened on March the 18th, the same day Canakkale naval victory, which was a prelude, of course, to Turkiye's war of independence?
Sure. Obviously, there are the historical aspects of the bridge and the date that it was opened, like you said, the naval victory. But more than that, it's another connection between Europe and Asia. It's another connection between the Straits of the Dardanelles, which have been for so long separated and were only passable through ferries and through a very arduous process. And that's made it much simpler now. And I think we'll see the economic benefits of that, and we'll discuss those later on.
So we all know that it has a great historic symbolism, Maurizio, and as just Taha mentioned, it also connects continents, Europe and Asia. How important is this bridge in conveying Turkey's position, again, as a bridge between these two continents, not just symbolically, but for practical reasons as well?
I think it's a very important, beyond the historical aspects, it's really linking two continents. And in that sense, is solidifying the position of Turkey to be in between, to be this link between the East and the West. And from a trade perspective, we know that any shortening of distance is a major boost for trade and is a major boost for the economies that develop along the trade route. So I'm sure it will prove to be particularly important for Turkey and for Turkey as a powerhouse, possibly between East and West.
What kind of a benefit, Taha, would this bridge bring in terms of economic value, as you mentioned, and Turkey's drive to be logistics and trade hub for Europe?
Right. So the most important thing to talk about is, first of all, there was no outlay by the Turkish taxpayers initially for this. And the projections for the benefits, there are obviously the primary benefits, as the professor said, linking these straits and forming a new trade route. However, the secondary and tertiary benefits are yet to be seen and are thought to be in the multiple billions of dollars. And this will open up an entirely new corridor. We saw the same thing in Turkey on the Osman Gazi Bridge, where parts of the Marmara that were up until now very difficult to reach. Businesses have been burgeoning there. Construction, new ventures have started. So we have yet to see the benefits that the bridge will unleash, but I believe we will in the very near future see these and the return on investment, just not only for the companies that have done the construction. Obviously, they know what they're going to get, but the Turkish people and the country as a whole will benefit greatly as well.
So, Maurizio, what's your take on that? How will this bridge contribute to Turkey's drive to be a logistics and transportation hub for both Europe and Asia as well?
Well, it's fundamental. As I was saying before, it is important for the local economy as well, because the people that will save 5 hours, let's say 5 hours that can be spent doing productive activities, and that will boost the GDP of Turkey independently of the trade aspect. What is more important in terms of big figures possibly is what this may become for an extra and a major link between Europe and Asia. And unfortunately, we cannot discuss this aspect without mentioning the current situation in Ukraine, which is putting a lot of uncertainty on major transportation links between East and West. And that's not a situation that is clearly finished, and we will have to see how it plays out. And in that aspect, therefore, a lot of the possible benefits that Turkey may generate are also a function of what may happen, how big the conflict is going to be, for how long, will it be extending further or not.
Yeah, Taha, just Maurizio mentioned the COVID-19 pandemic forced many countries to reconsider their supply chains, and now we have this, unfortunately, conflict in Ukraine. Have both of these events revealed that Turkey's geopolitical position could help it play a greater role, or what are the challenges?
Absolutely. I think we've seen many of these things already bear fruit. Obviously, these are two issues that are negative and are sad for the entire world: the pandemic, and obviously this war, the attack on Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine. However, like you said, I mean, we live in a world where we have to find alternatives, and people who have found alternatives from Asian manufacturing in Turkey, especially Europe, Turkey has benefited from those. And similarly, with these routes now closed to go east from through the Ukraine, through Russia, if we see this prolonged, then people are going to have little choice but to use Turkey, and that's going to benefit Turkey economically.
So, Maurizio, how has the opening of this bridge resonated among the European business circles?
Well, it's still difficult to say, I'm afraid, because the businesses are really now focused. They were focused on COVID-19, unfortunately, and now they're focused on the disruption from the war in Ukraine. And that's why maybe, and unfortunately, it has not had the full extent of the impact, even simply in terms of the reflections of the business that it could have had. But it's also important to keep in mind that in this situation where firms and business are looking for alternative routes, even if then the situation all of a sudden, and hopefully so in Ukraine and for COVID-19, were to be resolved quickly, there is a continuation of the process that is taking place. So once a firms experiment with alternative routes and they enjoy them, then even if the problems, the shock that caused looking for alternatives goes away, that doesn't necessarily mean that firms go back to the older ways of doing things. And in that sense, then the opening of the bridge right now, it is a challenge, but it is a challenge that may lead to capitalize even further gains than otherwise.
This bridge is just the latest in a series of mega projects that the Turkish government has overtaken over the last 2 decades. Taha, bridges, tunnels, we talk about airports, dams, have transformed much of Türkiye. So can you talk about how projects like this make Türkiye more globally competitive?
Like you said, I mean, Turkey is a natural bridge. Many of these projects should have been done 30, 40, 50 years ago, and were very late in coming to execution. But now that they have, I mean, we just see the new airport in Istanbul. Many said there's no way, and we see the images here of that. There is no way that the guaranteed number of flights that the government has guaranteed at this airport were going to take place. It would take many decades for them to reach there, but they immediately reached their goals. And so this is one of many instances in which these mega projects were thought to be wildly optimistic, and just the reverse happened.
Yes. All right, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.